What is melodic black metal? And what makes it different from regular black metal? Well, first, it typically has much better production. Normally, black metal is known for its atrocious production quality, much like some of my past videos. Melodic black metal lacks this raw feel, and instead has a more triumphant sound. Much like melodic death metal, it is a less abrasive version of its former genre, though it should be noted that since black metal is pretty rough sounding already, and arguably even more inaccessible than death metal, melodic black metal still has a slightly higher barrier to entry than the other two melodic metal genres. The melodies of melodic black metal are a bit more subtle most of the time. Melodic black metal is still adjacent to melodic death metal, however, so much in fact that quite possibly the pioneering band of the genre, Dissection, is also considered melodic black and death metal for its fusion of the two styles. Besides Dissection, some other artists who play this mellow black death hybrid are Thulkandra, and Decameron. For an example of a more pure melodic black metal band, look no further than Watain. Sworn to the Dark hits the nail on the head as far as embodying the genre, where it truly came to form.
No star will shine tonight.
Other pure examples are Dark Funeral, and Dark Fortress. Of course, the most famous bands of the genre are three bands that will have you considered a poser by black metal elitists. Dimmu Borgir, who blend melodic black metal with symphonic metal, Cradle of Filth, who combine melodic black metal, gothic metal, and melodic metalcore, and Children of Bodom, who mix melodic black metal, melodic death metal, and power metal. Think of them as a sort of Dissection light, and Children of Bodom sometimes flirt with neoclassical metal and groove metal on some albums. Many of the earlier melodic black metal bands take heavy inspiration from Viking metal, which yes, is a real genre, unlike something like pirate metal. Viking metal is a distinct sound which combines black metal with folk elements, such as Bathory did on Bloodfire Death. Some examples of this Viking-inspired melodic black metal are Dawn, Wind Ear, and Kvist. This type of sound has the faintest melodies of all, and I hesitated calling it melodic black metal, but maybe it's a sort of proto-melodic black metal. Regardless, I'm including it in the video. Some outliers who make up the more distinct sounding of the genre are Skeleton Witch, who mix melodic black death with technical thrash, Abigail Williams, who mixed the style with deathcore and symphonic metal, and Uwada, who I'm not entirely sure how to categorize, but are definitely in the realm of melodic black metal. Even just looking at their album art suggests that this is the genre going in a different direction. I've seen it compared to the band Inquisition, who have a somewhat similar sound. I've once heard this described as cosmic black metal, but I looked into that and apparently that name was already taken. How hilarious is that? We've reached the point where we're running out of names for these things. And these cosmic black metal bands sound completely different to this sound that I'm showcasing with these two here. So I'm not sure what to call it, but it seems like a subgenre of melodic black metal to me, so I'm giving it a mention. Let me know in the comments if this style has a name, or if you have an idea of what it should be called. It's distinct from regular melodic black metal, as it frequently uses the freezing moon vocal fry type singing, and the instrumentation has a more hypnotic, droning, repetitive sound to it. Now compared to melodic death metal, you don't hear the term melodic black metal that much. Maybe this is because black metal fans are the most gatekeepy metalheads around, so they tend to categorize everything as either black metal or not black metal, but I do think it's a term that should be used more. It's one of my personal favorite styles. The theme of melodic black metal is definitely the Faustian spirit, the ever-striving, the eternal longing for more. The Watain track, Satan's Hunger, describes it well. This unquenchable thirst keeps the Faustian driven towards more knowledge, more power, more everything. Faust being an archetype for this type of person, he is even often referenced, such as in Cradle of Filth's Absinthe with Faust. Black metal is often described as satanic, but what makes that so? Well, if you compare it to church hymns and other forms of worship music that is meant to venerate the Almighty, melodic black metal is the opposite. It is the worship of the self. The Faustian spirit longs for the infinite, free of constraints, to ever expand into the unknown. The album art of the genre tends to emphasize darkness, cold landscapes, and personifications of death, venturing into what is hospitable to most. This sometimes translates into the bands ideologically as well, as there is a yearning to surpass the bounds of what is permissible in polite society, and thus many artists in the genre stand accused of religious or political extremism. That said, lyrically, melodic black metal is not very political. By contrast, other genres such as thrash metal or grindcore are far more likely to have political themes. No. Typically, melodic black metal lyrics are a combination of the abstract lyrics of melodic death metal, which romanticize perseverance, and melodic metalcore lyrics, which are about devotion, except this time it is devotion to the self, rather than to the other. Musically, it should be pretty easy to tell these three styles apart by now. Clean vocals are even rarer here than they were in melodic death metal, and there certainly aren't any breakdowns, although the guitars have a nice thump to them, which is quite enjoyable. This might sound strange, but melodic black metal is much more uniform in sound than the other melodic styles. The vocals are more monotone, and the instrumentation is more rigid and orderly. Sort of like a metal marching band or something like that, which only enhances the edgy factor of the genre. Melodic black metal is by far the least well-known of these three melodic styles, even if a few in the genre have achieved some mainstream success. Its height of popularity was in the early 2000s. It's not a term that you hear very often, so I'm sure that some weren't even aware that there was a melodic variant of black metal. So whether I've introduced you to a new style or reconnected you with an old favorite, this concludes the melodic metal genres. Our acculturation continues as we explore metal's overcomplicated genres.